Hey everybody, it's Kelly.
And Arthur, we're back.
You're here with the Love Shows. Thank you guys so much for joining our podcast, Becoming the CEO of Your Health. Isn't that what we all want?
It is totally what we all want because it's not about having a longer lifespan, right guys? It's about having that better health span, about living the healthiest life we can, being the most vibrant we can, and just, enjoying the time we're around here, right?
Heck yeah. Oh my gosh. I think each and every one of us would love to feel good, do more, do our best every single day.
Yeah, sleep better, have more energy, feel just great.
I love it. So you guys, today we have a topic that some of you might go like, bleh.
Yeah, really bleh.
Gut health? Are you kidding
health.
me? Gut health? That's no fun. That kind of sounds a little poopy.
Yeah, what a stinky topic. Well, it could be, right?
It could be. It could be. But we want to bring this to you because what we've realized is pretty much our health starts with our assessment of our gut.
That's right, Kelly. I mean, this is something that is really so at the foundation of good health, of better health. And it's so important for everybody. And I think so many of us, even us included, really misunderstood the importance of gut health and what they call the microbiome and why it's so vital to keep this in the best shape possible.
And I think in the past, how many of you guys out there talk about your poop regularly? Well, maybe a little more often today, or if you're potentially in your 70s and beyond, you might be talking about your pooping. Or if you have babies, right, then maybe you're talking about pooping. But it kind of is like a taboo thing. I mean, people don't really talk about oh, I poop once a day. Oh, what's your poop? How's it like? Are you bloated after you eat? Those were just not okay to talk about.
Not
topics.
Things we talked about at all. And really, so we're clear, this is like gut health 101.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is like basic level. We're not going super deep into stuff here. We just want to bring some really, really foundational information to what is gut health, what are the things that cause a decline in gut health, and what can we do to actually improve it again?
Absolutely. So if any of you are out there thinking oh, I kind of get crampy after I eat, or oh, I feel bloated, or oh, I'm having issues with maybe diarrhea or constipation, you need to listen up, right? There is something going on. Your body is telling you your gut is not happy. And the relation to gut health, let's just start with overall health. And what does the gut have to do with anything, right?
Yeah, Kelly, what does the gut have to do with anything?
I don't know. Yes, I know. It has to do with our immune system. So who thinks your immune system is something you should be concerned about today?
Right. I mean, in today's world, isn't this a huge topic?
Huge topic. Absolutely. So immune health is directly related to the health of your gut.
70 to 80% of your immune system is started in your gut.
Yes. Yeah. It's wild. Now, how about hormones? Anybody out there have any issues or maybe thinking about issues that they have with their hormones? And it could be your female male hormones, sex hormones. It could be your, norepinephrine. It could be your serotonin. It could be many different
testosterone levels, guys. I mean, as many of us are aging, our testosterone levels go down, and that can be affected by your gut health.
So take note, gut health, hormones, neurotransmitters. That's the third, okay? The neurotransmitters are those messages from your gut going to your brain. Here's a statistic. I think if I would just ask you a question and say, do you think there's more signals or messages that your brain sends to your gut? Or would you say that there's more messages that your gut sends to your brain? Give me, who's out there thinking brain? Brain sends the most signals, right? Our brain is a master computer.
Put a brain in there down in the comments if you think brain sends the most signals.
Well,
anyone who's out there for brain?
If you're listening to the podcast, you probably are not going to be able to drop it.
Okay.
Some of you might be following us on our YouTube channel or finding us somewhere else. I don't know. But
jump up and down, wave your hand in the air if you think it's brain.
Yeah, I have a feeling if I took a poll, most of you would think brain. All right, how many gut? Not as many of you. I see that out there.
Yeah, we see it.
I'm hearing all of you. Not as many of you. Well, here's the real deal. All right. For every 1 to 2 signals that your brain sends to your gut, Your gut sends 3 to 6 signals from your gut to your brain. So who do you think's really in charge? Your gut, right?
And many times, guys, this is why today we're referring to the gut as the second brain. These neurotransmitters are chemical compounds that aid in the transmission of signals throughout your entire nervous system. Okay, we think neuro, so brain, but it's not just your brain; it's throughout your entire body.
Anybody out there ever, say like, oh, like I feel it in my gut. It's like a decision, like my gut intuition. I mean, that's really what we're talking about. So much goes on in the gut. And believe it or not, anybody that just wants a fun fact that, when in utero, the same tissue is that your brain and your gut get developed from is the same. And therefore, as it develops and it shifts to what it, ultimately becomes, that's why it's so intimately related. They have that communication back and forth.
It's all called the neural tube in developmental stages. And absolutely right, Kelly. The brain and the gut are all originating from the same tissue base.
So you guys, all right, it's important. Okay, let's feel better. Good. So 74% of Americans have digestive issues. Is that not shocking?
That's a huge number. I mean, that's basically, 3/4 of Americans have some sort of digestive or gut problem.
But when I start to talk to people, I'm realizing everyone's like, oh yeah, I have leaky gut. I have irritable bowel. I have SIBO. I have Crohn's disease. And it goes on and on and on. And I'm like, why? Like, why today do we have so much?
And many times, Kelly, people may not even recognize that the underlying cause of other problems they have actually comes from gut issues, because you may be having symptoms like poor sleep, or maybe you're feeling bloated, fatigued, poor digestion in general. Maybe you've got some brain fog, short-term memory loss,
right?
Obesity, diabetes, inflammatory conditions, even like decreased sex drive. These can all be related to leaky gut and poor digestion and poor gut health.
It's crazy because some people might not be getting the nutrient. Some people can't absorb the nutrient. Some people, again, it could be a variety of things. So first and foremost, I would say, if you don't have a physician, a functional medicine practitioner, a naturopath, somebody who's going to help you lead you through these discussions, because your primary care doctor, honestly, might just say, oh, you're pooping. Oh, you're not pooping. Have fiber, drink more water. That might be their only answer for you.
Or many times they're going directly to your symptoms.
True.
Because it's showing up as a sleep problem. It's showing up as a
skin
disorder. It's showing up as asthma. It's showing up as autoimmune. But really, the root cause is that gut issue.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here's another staggering statistic. So, of children, by the age of 16 today, 52% of kids have a chronic illness or disease. And what I mean by that is things like asthma, allergies, eczema, psoriasis, cancers. That's pretty unbelievable. We have 4 kids and they're now hitting those, ages and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And when we start thinking like, oh, what's been going on with them in their lives? We have seen some of our kids experience these same things we're talking about today.
Even things as simple as really bad acne can actually be related to poor gut health.
Yep.
It's an inflammatory disorder. It's an inflammatory problem.
So I want you guys to really take note that, everyday people like Arthur and I, we're talking about gut. We're educating our patients that we see on the gut, the people that we coach. We're educating our children about the gut health, about overall, what can they do? Very simple things. Because as Arthur was saying earlier, when we talk about where we are in the world today and people are talking about immunity, one of the other things that's been elevated even before, right? We've been dealing with this coronavirus. We've been seeing an increase of anxiety and depression and mental health illnesses. And now it's even skyrocketing more than ever. Well, that can all also be related to gut health.
Yeah, very interesting, Kelly. We were actually listening recently to Dr. Zach Bush, and he was describing, what's going on with the soil base around the world. And this is a medical doctor. He's an MD, and he's really been looking at the relationship between gut health, immune health, diseases. And he's been tracing this all the way back to our soils and farming. And he actually brought up some really disturbing statistics. He actually says 90% of the world's soil is severely depleted.
The world, you guys, that's the
soil.
world.
And it's a combination of not only the chemicals we're putting into the soil, but also some of the modern farming techniques that have really depleted the nutritional value in the soil. So even if crops are organically grown, we now know they're not as nutritious as things were 50 and 60 years ago. So it's super, super frightening. And with the use of some of these mass chemicals, especially that you hear a lot of talk about glyphosate in particular, that we've seen levels of toxicity that are truly disease producing.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting into what being referred to as the second generation of children being born with this heavy, heavy toxicity load in our diets.
And that's why, we all know that so many children today are having, anything on the spectrum, right? Whether you're going to say my child has sensory disorder, difficulty processing, ADHD, autism, even very, very young kids having issues with asthma and skin issues, very, very young, and cancers. It's no wonder, because those statistics weren't around when we were children, and let alone definitely were not around when our parents were children.
So why is there this massive increase in all of these problems? Is it truly just that we're reporting more? I don't think so. I think we really need to look at root cause. Here's something crazy, Kelly. Many years ago, we really consciously made a switch from white bread to whole wheat breads, because we thought, wow, whole wheat, that's more nutritious. It's got more minerals, more vitamins.
Bye-bye Wonder Bread, right?
Yeah, bye-bye Wonder Bread. It's
the kids are so sad. They don't
12 grain, multi-grain, whole wheat, cracked wheat, right? That was all supposed to be really good. But again, we're learning from Dr. Zachary Bush that whole wheat actually has 40 times more glyphosate in it than white wheat flour.
Oh my.
Okay, and it's because of those minerals, and the glyphosate sticks to those minerals. And even when you're producing other food sources with it, it's all in there. And again, whether we're looking at what's getting into our ground and our crops, whether we're looking at what's getting into the meat and poultry, or the heavy metal toxicity loads in fish because of what's in the water out in the oceans, these are some staggering issues. And then we realize that we're consuming all of this, and it is deteriorating the health of our gut. And no surprising then that we're having all these other health issues along the way.
And it is difficult. I will say, okay, before the internet, and now it's even more difficult, but when we were all just watching television, there was commercials all the time and radio commercials all the time. We as consumers are bombarded by advertising that makes us think this is healthy for you, this is good for you, this is nutritious for you. And then years go by and we don't change those paradigms in our mind. If you really think about it, and no disrespect to the food industry, the education of dietitians, but if you go back all the way to the pyramid,
the food pyramid, right? Food pyramid.
And you're looking at what we should be eating is wait, we actually know today that's not true.
The standard American diet that was based on that food pyramid is really backward. It's literally upside down. It's little wonder that it is the sad diet, right? So
let alone all of what our fast food industry has done and destroyed all of our guts, eating all those trans fats and more, right? We won't even get into that. So, let's talk about that. I don't know where you guys shop, but let's just say, because what we want to do in our podcast for you guys is give you simple, actionable things that you can implement right away into your life, right? This isn't a science discussion. This isn't, a book for you to have to read. We want you to leave with a few actionable things to help improve your life, because you should be that CEO, right? So with that, Arthur, what should somebody look for when they are going to the grocery store? Should they even go to the grocery store? Do you just look for organic? Do you want to look at a farmer's market? Help our consumers say what's some basics of shopping. And we've really had to change our habits.
We've changed our habits tremendously. And first and foremost, I do believe you have to go organic. Yeah, it may cost a little bit more, but that's the very first level of getting some of the antibiotics out of your system, getting some of the, chemicals that are used standardly in mass production farms out. Is it perfect? No, but it is a first step in the right direction. So we believe that diet should be predominantly plant-based. Okay. I'm not saying don't eat meat. We love our meat, but there should be a very heavy emphasis on plant-based sources in your diet.
And a rainbow, right? A whole
Yeah.
variety
Lots of colors,
things.
right? Lots of those great phytonutrients. But we have to go organic to the best of our ability. And then when we're looking at whether it's, beef, pork, poultry, fish, beef needs to be grass-fed, and it's grass-fed and finished, and it should be hormone-free. And the other thing we need to recognize is we probably don't need to consume the quantities of it that we thought were appropriate. I mean, really, if it fits in the palm of your hand in terms of a protein source, that's probably more than enough.
4 ounces is good. So when you do go to your steakhouse and you're like, I want the 16-ounce porterhouse.
The 52-ounce challenge. I get it. It's delicious. It's, it's wonderful, but it's not necessary. When we're looking at fish, you want to stay away from farmed fish. You really want to focus on wild caught. That's super important terms. Just the activity levels that the fish have when they're wild caught and what those fish have had to do to survive actually creates greater nutrient base in the flesh that you will be consuming. So that's super important from there.
Absolutely. And it's, sometimes people just say, I just can't afford it. Many times in our lives, we say things to our friends and family or whatever to say like, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have the time. Oh, I don't have the money. Oh, I don't have this. I don't have the skills. Really, you guys, they're kind of just all excuses.
Yeah. And two, if you really think about it, getting sick costs a heck of a lot more than doing the things that seem like they're more expensive, but will keep you healthy.
Yes. Agreed. So make the conscious decision that for you and your family want to truly be healthier.
Yeah.
Right.
So other simple things that we've really adopted in our family is, we've really tried to reduce the amount of wheat and gluten in our diet. Those things are highly inflammatory. And I'm not saying we're wheat free or gluten free, but we've just tried to really reduce our consumption of them.
And if you are completely free, good for you. Amazing.
Yeah. We've tried to reduce how much dairy we take in.
A lot. Yes,
especially, milk. We love our cheeses. We still eat cheese, but again, we've tried to decrease how much we have of it. And sugars, right? Simple sugars, looking for some really good sugar alternatives. Even things like stevia, but it needs to be pure leaf stevia, okay? Monk fruit.
Absolutely,
Monk fruit is a wonderful sweetener.
And these are all really readily available today too. They're not like you have to go to some special store to find it. No, it's really available everywhere. Online, at Costco, at many different places.
Most
wherever you're shopping.
Stores, right.
So look, absolutely look.
Yeah.
And then you guys, we've trying to do our best with our family. Again, we're just a busy couple with families doing all these things. But what we realized is sometimes in the day-to-day shuffle, we're not always getting the best food 100% of the time, right? Sometimes in our day-to-day shuffle, things like sleep and stress do creep into our lives more than we should. So we've taken it a step further, and I'm sure it's on all the shelves today of the topic of like kombucha, right? Or, different fibers, but getting a prebiotic and getting a probiotic is something that if you just make it a habit, it's going to automatically start giving the gut the nutrients it needs to improve the health of that microbiome. So let's talk about the differences of what is a pre and probiotic and...
Okay, perfect. Now, I was also going to say, I was going to paraphrase George Orwell for a moment and just say, we just have to recognize that, not all probiotics are the same, right? Okay. They're not all equal. Some are more equal than others. Okay.
My daughter tells me that like in leggings, right? How many ladies out there, right? You're probably wearing your leggings right now, your favorite black ones. I am.
I'm not. I'm not wearing my leggings right now. My jeggings for me either.
My daughter says, but Mom, right? Lulus are the best. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, it's the same. This one, this one, this one. I have a variety of ones. Okay. I don't have just one, but I do have to say they're all not created the same. So your probiotics are the same.
Yeah. All probiotics are equal, but some are more equal than others. So yeah, what are prebiotics and probiotics? So Kelly, prebiotics, how would you describe a prebiotic?
Yeah. So in a prebiotic, I'm going to give you this analogy. If you were going to cultivate a beautiful garden and you were going to put you had your flowers that you wanted to plant, before you even plant the flowers, you probably need to do something to that soil, prep the soil. So in prepping the soil, you get out the weeds and the rocks and the roots and the bad stuff, right?
Yeah.
So get rid of that. So in our gut, we need to get rid of the bad stuff, take out the junk. So a prebiotic helps do that. They help get rid of the things that shouldn't be in the gut, okay?
And you need to clean stuff out because there are actually special receptor sites all throughout your gut where the good stuff is supposed to be.
But if it's
covered with crap, right, the good stuff can't go there.
Absolutely.
So you got to clean it out.
So those are the rocks, the weeds, the everything, okay? But the other part of a prebiotic is, just like for your garden, you have to give it nutrients and put in soil and feed it. Our gut is the same. We have to be sure if you're going to put a probiotic in there, which we'll talk about in a minute, but that probiotic needs food, fuel, nutrition. And so that prebiotic, it sets the scene. It actually goes into your gut lining. It sets the scene. It tills the soil, opens your receptor sites so that your probiotics can come in, and provides food and nutrition. So when those probiotics get there, they're hungry little critters. They can do their jobs.
Right.
So how about a probiotic?
Probiotics. So probiotics are bacteria. Okay. And there's many different strains of bacteria that we actually have residing in our intestines.
Hundreds.
And they do billions and billions and billions. In fact, if you were to count all the number of bacteria in your gut, it's equivalent to the number of cells in your entire body.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So your gut is full of bacteria, and they're super, super smart, and they do super, super important jobs. But it does mean that when you do things like consume an antibiotic, it will actually destroy that gut flora. It destroys the microbes in there, and then you have to recolonize it. So that's where getting a good source with many different strains of good bacteria bioavailable in it, and in a delivery mechanism that can actually get to the small and large intestine where those good microbes are supposed to reside. You know, a lot of probiotics out there are just in a little veggie cap.
Yes. And right? I think that's the biggest question that people ask me all the time. Well, hey, do you need to refrigerate it? Should it be liquid? Will it get there faster? Should it be in a certain sort of capsule or form? Or how many CFUs does it need? You can have all the CFUs in the world, but if it doesn't get to the gut, it's worthless, right? Like you're throwing your money away.
Yeah. Or you're eating your money. But, you know, just make sure that when you're looking at your probiotics, you know, look for something that actually has a delivery system that can help it survive your stomach acid and actually be time released in the small and large intestine. It's important because as you move through the intestinal tract, actually the colonization amplifies and gets much, much bigger further down the track we go. So you've got to make sure that these good bacteria are really getting where they're supposed to go, and that also the prebiotic can get all the way through to feed them as well. The really rich fiber sources that'll be hardy and survive and then be broken down by the bacteria and really help them be the best little bacterias in your gut possible.
Yes. I will just say myself a personal antidote, because some people are like, I take a probiotic, but I really need a prebiotic. You can eat a lot of prebiotic foods, right? A lot of pickled foods, things like that can help, fermented foods. But honestly, those are not my favorite. And I used to not take a prebiotic long ago, but when I started adding that prebiotic, I found a few things in my health that changed. One, I wasn't looking to lose weight, but like around my middle, that little bit of bloating that sometimes we have was completely eliminated. My actual hunger was a little bit less once I started taking that prebiotic.
A little more satiated? Yeah,
a little bit more satiated. It was just interesting because I wasn't looking for a change. I just knew it was good for me, and I was pleasantly surprised. So it may be very subtle, but things work in a system. So if you're going to take half of a system, you might only get a portion of the benefit. If you do the whole system, you're going to get a massive benefit. So gut health is important because, like we started with, you guys, it helps control your immune system, your hormones, your neurotransmitters, which means how your brain is functioning, and so much of the rest of your body. It's a complex system. No one's going to say we have all the answers.
Yeah. And you might be really shocked how good you feel when you start getting your gut healthy. You may think, oh, there's nothing wrong with my gut, but actually doing a few simple little things to make your gut health that much better may make a startling result in lots of other things in your life.
And I just want to leave you guys, if you really are having serious issues, again, we really would encourage you to go seek out a medical practitioner to help you. You may need to actually go on an elimination diet and allow time for your digestive tract to heal if it's really been damaged.
Yeah.
So those are things along the way. And then you would slowly introduce things back into your diet. Adding things, of course, is going to be important, but there's many practitioners that can help you in this journey.
100%. So guys, gosh, I think that really covers what we had to say today. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
We always appreciate it, and share our podcast, right? That's how we pass this information around. Send it to somebody that you love. And we super appreciate a 5-star rating, whether you're listening to us on Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever you might find us. We really, really appreciate all of your time and energy and efforts for being with us.
And you can always reach out to us. You can find us. Where can they find us, Kelly?
Gosh, you guys, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at The Luptious, or go ahead and reach out to our website, which is theluptious.com. And it is plural because there's 2 of us. So the THE Luptious, LUPSHAS.com. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.